Hey guys, this is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and welcome back to another movie review. Today's movie review is going to be on the 1971 movie from Warner Brothers, and it's also the directorial debut of George Lucas, and that's going to be on THX 1138. THX 1138 is directed by George Lucas, like I said, and stars Robert Duvall and a bunch of other cast members. So the story of THX 1138 goes like this. In the future, mankind lives in vast underground cities, and free will is outlawed by means of mandatory medication that controls human emotion. But when THX 1138 and LU's age 34 or 17 and stop taking their meds, they wake up to the bleak reality of their own existence and fall in love with each other in the process. But love is also illegal in this desperate, like this dystopia. And the act of making love has made both of them outlaws on the run from an army of robotic police. And there you go. So I recently watched this movie on HBO Max. Like I remember first hearing about this movie when I was looking up THX videos on YouTube back when I was a little kid, back in like 2007 or 8 or 9, whatever year that was. So I first heard about this movie long ago, and all the way up until recently, I watched this movie on HBO Max recently, and I gotta say, THX 1138 is actually a really awesome movie. Yeah, because I gotta say, this is actually like considered to be like almost like one of the best films of 1971. Because this is actually one of the old films that came out in 1971, released by Warner Brothers, and I gotta say, for the first movie directed by George Lucas, I gotta say George Lucas actually does a really good job directing this film for his first movie he directed. Because this movie was actually two of George Lucas's films that is not really Star Wars related. Because the other movie directed by George Lucas that's not Star Wars related is actually American Graffiti. Which I mean, I've heard of American Graffiti, but I never saw it yet. But maybe I will check it out at some point. But for now, I watched THX 1138. And I gotta say, I do like how the sci-fi effects look at like how this movie plays out. It's like a science fiction film, like sci-fi. And I gotta say, like the sound design is also well done too. Like, you know, the way George Lucas directs this film, and Robert Duvall, even the acting performances like Robert Duvall. I gotta say, Robert Duvall actually does a really good job playing THX 1138 in this film. And yeah, because since this movie was directed by George Lucas and this movie came out in 1971, this movie was also the THX logo company got its name. And of course, and of course the THX logo company wasn't really founded until probably like the late 70s or probably the early 80s, like when Star Wars the Return of the Jedi came out. But yeah, so I had a pretty good time watching this movie on HBO Max, and plus I even because when I first watched this movie on HBO Max, I was going on HBO Max on my computer on my MacBook Pro, and I was scrolling through the last chance to see what movies are leaving HBO Max soon, and one of them was THX 1138. So I decided to watch it, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, because like I said, THX 1138 it's actually leaving HBO Max soon. So if you have HBO Max and if you haven't seen THX 1138 yet, then I say give this movie a watch. I recommend it, and before it leaves HBO Max. Or there's another way you can watch it, like whether you can rent it on demand or something like that. Yeah. So overall, THX 1138 was an awesome movie from 1971, made by Warner Brothers, directed by George Lucas for his first movie, and with a really good performance by Robert Duvall. And I'm gonna give THX 1138 4.5 out of 5 stars. And like I said, if you haven't seen THX 1138, then I highly recommend it. So there you have it, guys. That's gonna be it for this movie. That's gonna be it for this movie review on THX 1138, and that's gonna be it for this video. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying goodbye, everybody, and that's about it.